Hey, Shalom, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruha, Wakakadash. Double honors to the men at Great Millstone, our apostles at Great Millstone, and to the bishops and elders in Connecticut, and to the high priest that taught our apostles. Okay, and this y'all Demar from the Great Millstone, Houston. And we're going to a lesson, going into, brothers you know, been making videos, and I seen the brother. When I first seen it, it was the brother out there in Jersey, Saints of Jersey, right? Going into, it's pretty much prophecy about these YNs going into this World War III. Then you have women trying to look for men, to protect them.
Just
So
something that was
let's
a
get into
figment
the
of my
video.
imagination. They would confirm themselves to be very, very real. So there was one that I did not get the understanding.
And it's fair use, only for
For, and I
education
actually,
purposes only.
I don't even
Not
want
getting
to say I
paid for this.
misunderstood it because these
Fair
things
use,
are
fair
to happen
use.
and there are scriptures to back them up. But I didn't understand the fullness of it until now. So in the dream, there were young men. There were young men that were in old army uniforms, old BDUs, like 90s uniforms, not necessarily World War One or two, but they were in like 90s army attire. And they were all younger than me. All these men were younger than me. None of them were millennials. They were all Gen Z men. And they were running into a battlefield. Now, let me describe this battlefield to you. It was very big, it was very wide, and it was dark outside. So it was nighttime. So the grass was dark green, but had that very much black hue over it. And the men were running into the battlefield and being shot down. I mean, shot in the head, shot in the chest, shot down. It was every last one of them. They were all running out with weapons. They were running out with old guns that the military no longer uses in combat. M16s are not used in the military combat anymore. And they were running out there with them, and they were not using them properly. They were flailing above the head, going and they're running out there and dying. They were just getting slaughtered. And the thing is, nobody was actually shooting at them. They were running to a tree line, a dark tree line, and as they would run, bullets would fly out from over there. They were just flying, and you couldn't see who was shooting. There was no person over there actually shooting. They were running to a dark tree line and just being shot. They wouldn't even make it to the tree line before they would be shot. This field that they were in had to be about the size of maybe a football and a half, long, a football field and a half long, and it was being covered in blood. The men were being picked up by these old looking, I want to say World War One. The terms World War One keep popping in my head, but they look like World War One ambulances. And the medics kept trying to come out there and pick up the bodies and pick up the wounded. And there were so many young men dying and being shot and wounded till when wounded men were collected by the medics, they would eventually die because what was happening is there were so many dead men that 7 of them would be stuffed into the back of these ambulances at a time. They would be stuffed in, and the wounded would die because they were among the dead. That's it was so much dying going on. It was horrific to see.
Yeah, you see, hey, that's prophecy. That's in the scripture. You know, men they gonna perish in this war that's coming. This World War III. Let's go ahead and get there right quick. This is Second Esdras 16 and 33. The virgins shall mourn, right? It's the women having no bridegrooms, right? Their husbands or boyfriends or whatever. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. That's what it's gonna say, yo. Slack you for this. Just out the way. And I just mark it, get it out the way. Yeah, and let me read that again. Second Ezra 16 and 33. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, right? The women shall mourn, having no husbands. The daughters shall mourn, having no helps. Or just letting you know, these women, man, they gonna be through out here. You know what I'm saying? Because they men gonna be, there ain't gonna be no men around. And it's gonna explain. 34. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. Right, that's what that Jake was saying in the video. He had that vision, that dream that he had. These YNs, or these just men in period going into this war and not surviving. Verse 34 again, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. See? Hear now these words, it's like you. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of Yahweh Shai. So yeah, we getting an understanding of what's about to take place. And you have Jakes like this here, having visions, and we can go into it. Not kind of like we can go into
Scene
it,
ended up turning
So
red.
let's go back to the video.
These young men were going out there and dying, and not even having a chance. Like, they wouldn't duck. They had no guidance. They had no formation. They had no understanding. They literally did not know how to fight in this battle, and they were just running out there and charging and being slaughtered. And so the ambulances weren't even being touched. That's the thing. The ambulances were clean, but they were very old. No rust or anything, but they were very old style, like literally World War I old. I don't know. Again, don't know why I keep saying World War I, but the medics themselves were never being shot. They were helping, but they weren't being. They were out there, but they weren't being shot. So now you got, that was the first dream, and by the end of the dream, the field was covered in blood that would not dry up. It was blood it would remain red. It covered it was so much blood, it covered the dark hue that came from the night sky. It was just so much, and it was horrible. This dream ended. Then months later, I had another dream, and for those that understand what I'm saying, if you understand what I'm saying, this dream was connected to the first one, even though they were months apart.
Yeah, now he's finna go into the
And
about the women that he had
I'll
the
tell you
vision
how
of that he
I'll tell you
seen.
how I know it. You'll hear it when I
Listen
talk
to
about
it.
it.
Check
In
it
the
out.
second dream, it was about Generation Z women. There were no millennial women in this. It was Generation Z women and millennial men. They were the only ones I saw in this. So the Generation Z women were running around holding babies. They were holding their children, and they were running around looking for men. They were asking men to marry them. They were telling men, please. They were telling the millennial men, please marry me. Please marry me. If you don't marry me, I won't survive. I won't be protected. No one will care. Help me, help me. And a lot of the men were turning them down. The men were telling them, I'm not raising you and those babies. I'm not raising you and that baby. Just
You see, so yeah, let's get into it. It sound like Isaiah 4:1 to me. These women gonna be looking for some help in those days. You know, we we're approaching those days, really. So this Isaiah 4:1 in the KJV. I'm gonna read the NLT too. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name and take away our reproach. Yeah. So these women, man, they gonna be looking for a man, mostly, really, the man of the Lord. That know this, have this knowledge and this truth. They know this knowledge and truth. They gonna want a man with understanding and to guide them properly, right? So that's what they're gonna be wanting. They gonna be like, hey, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us call let us be called by our name, you know. Pretty much, hey, married and such, you know. Hey, having sex and and take on that man's name, you know, pretty much, so they can be protected. And let's see what the NLT. Let's get that in the NLT. Isaiah 4:1 in the NLT. In that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight over each man, saying, "Let us marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maids," you see? Yeah, man. So yeah, we coming in those times, you know. Yeah, so let's get see the men of the Lord, man, is gonna be that prize of that in that day. You know, they talking shit, these people talking shit right now. Let them. Let them talk their shit, you know. Let's get Isaiah 13 and 12 right quick. It's Isaiah 13 and 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, right? Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? See? Yo, man. Man, gonna be the prize of the day. He's gonna be more precious than fine gold in that day. And these women, or whoever, they gonna realize that. They gonna see that. You know, they seeing it really not really. You know, we still got these people. They still pride. You know. Let's see what the NLT say. Isaiah 13 and 12 in the NLT. I will make people scarcer than gold, more rare than the fine gold of Ophir. Well, yeah, it ain't. The KJV explains a little bit more. But yeah, man. You know, men. Y'all just keep holding on, man. I'm talking to myself first and foremost. You know, gotta hold on, and they're gonna see who's the chosen that day. Let's get But he said that these women gonna be wanting protection, right? Let's get Isaiah 32. This might be the last one. I might bring out one more after this one. Isaiah 32 and 1. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as in hiding, and a man shall be as in hiding place from the wind, right? What wind? Let's get Jeremiah right quick. Uh, Jeremiah 51. Yeah, Jeremiah 51 and 1. Thus said Yahweh Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me and against me a destroying wind. Right. Read that again. Thus said Yahweh Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them and rise up against me a destroying wind. So that destroying wind is the missiles. And it will send unto Babylon fannels that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Right, it's going into that strong wind is going through these missiles and destruction, and that's what these women gonna be want to get saved from. You know. So let's get back into it. Isaiah 32. Read it again. Isaiah 32 and 2. And a man shall be as in hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So yeah, man. Just wanted to get into this video. Hey, these women, they men gonna be destroyed in this World War III. You know, and they gonna men, these all these men, these mighty men, they gonna be throughout here too in Babylon. You know, and women gonna be looking for some protection. You know, period. So hey, I hope this been edifying and to the point. You know, until next time, I want to give all praises due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruhal Kakadash. Until next time, Shalom.